Okay, so we're down to one of the last things that we're going to do here now is we're going to remove the end waste and assemble this piece together. So the first thing as well too I want to go through here is if you have a little piece to come off, say a line along the shoulder here, by taking the chisel vertically up on your hand behind it, you can actually pare straight down. It's not, didn't have to be done, but occasionally you may have to do something like that. Make sure this is well supported. Make sure your thumb's on the top of the chisel and you can see that this is vertical, and you can clean that off there. Sometimes a guide piece of timber can be placed in behind it or in the vise to do that there. I'm not going to show it here, but it's just a way of cleaning down the shoulder. Same as when you're cleaning the little frays off here if they happen to come up. And you would tend to use something like maybe a 25mm chisel. So I'm going to remove the waste here. And this isn't a lot of the times that happens in classes tend to rush this part of the job. And what we need to do here is we need to take our time and make a good job of this as opposed to rushing it. So you can see I have the square at the ready, so I'm going to be checking it. Place the piece in line with the opening on the bench hook. Thumb as a guide. Pressing down on this here. Finger along the side of the saw. Start with the heel of the saw. Using the thumb as a guide. Should be nice and clear there. Draw back. Keep drawing back. And draw back as many times as you need. Get that saw line back across the piece and tight. You should be able to make it out, just about make out the edge of the saw line there. So once you've got that line done, all you have to do is concentrate on this here, the saw being vertical. So I'm going to cut down along it here now. Thumb as a guide, finger as a guide, keeping your eye tight on that line. So you can see I'm cutting tight to the line. Yeah, that should be clear enough. And again, you can see I'm still using my thumb as a guide. And when you get towards the end, just slow down the saw cut, but using the length of the saw at the same time. And it should leave a nice clean cut. And you can see it's cut right to the saw line. And then I take out my square, go to my face side, face edge, and hold it in against that there. Obviously I'd hold it up to the light by holding it around that way and holding it up to the light, but just for the video I'm showing it here, and you can see that's nice and tight along the edge. And you can see if I turn it around here, it should be nice and tight along the edge as well too. It shouldn't be leaning off. It's a common mistake for people to lean off to one side with the saw. It's just down to the grip and practice. So that cut has to be made there, has to be made in these two guys, and has to be made on this one here. And it's exactly the same process. The only thing you have to watch out for here is don't be killing yourself trying to hold your hand over an open of a trench like that. Turn it around and do exactly the same thing there. And for these ones here, to be shorter pieces, and we just remove the waste here. Remembering to cut, make sure that you cut on the waste side of the line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead to the assembly of the piece. Okay, so I've removed the waste of each of these here, and we can do exactly the same thing with all of these here. We can check to see that they're perfectly square, each of those, just after being cut. Doesn't take that long, but when you're doing this for the first time, you want to take your time at it. There should be no steps along the sides. It should be just look like it's all one cut. And when we go to put the two of these together, you can see piece A and piece B. Face sides are pointed up. We want to put the two pieces assembled together, and that should be perfectly flat. There should be no gaps and along the edges here. Should be nice tight lines right around that whole piece. So that's our cross halving joint and the trenching, and there's quite a lot in that there to start off with, but it gives us a good idea of some of the different tool skills that are required in woodworking.